All right. Good evening, everyone. So sorry for the delays. Welcome to 2021, the year of continued stressors and things not going quite as planned. So we appreciate your guys' patience with us as we are navigating this world of Zoom. So anyhow, welcome to our unique version of Pride of the Pack virtual style. So we want to start by welcoming the class of 2025. I'm sure some of you guys are sitting there in your cozies at home going, how do I have a freshman in high school already? So anyhow, we want to just welcome you guys to Wood Creek High School, and we will go ahead and get started. So Mr. Alstad, if you'll go to the next slide. All right, so the purpose of today's meeting or tonight's meeting is to we're going to introduce you to the counseling team. We're going to kind of give you guys some background on some of the opportunities we have here at Wood Creek, along with some supports that we offer as well. We're going to kind of walk you guys through what credits are, what a high school schedule looks like, and also kind of look at graduation and college entrance requirements and kind of just give you a little snapshot of what that is going to be like. We're going to discuss some courses of study and some advanced placement options that we also offer here at Wood Creek. And then to end the evening, we're going to walk you through how to select classes for your 9th grade students, and then also how to enroll. We're going to do everything through online this year. It's a little different than it has in the past, but again, we'll walk you through the steps and we'll get you guys going. So next slide, please. All right, so our amazing counseling team. So I'm Farah Hoekstra. I have last names that are MER to SAN, and we have Mr. Allstott, if you want to wave to everyone, Mr. Allstott. So Mr. Allstott is our veteran counselor here this year. We're so glad to have him to kind of walk us through everything. But he has last names that end in, or that begin with HOQ to ME. And then we have Miss Schaefer, if you want to wave. So Miss Schaefer has students with the last name A through CS. And then we have Miss Ruiz, who is last names SAN to Z. And we do have Mr. Devlin, but he is actually doing our presentation for our Spanish-speaking families. So he's not on this particular Zoom meeting, but he is part of the team, and he's the one on the far right. And his last names are CU through HO. So we are looking forward to working with your students for the next 4 years. All right, so the next person that's part of our student service team is Janelle Lott. She is our college and career tech. She is her role as the college and career tech is a little different than a counselor role that the 5 of us do. She's there and she supports students with anything that's in the bubble that you're seeing, such as work permits. She helps students with career and personality assessments. She helps with scholarship searches, financial aid, any SAT or ACT questions that you may have. She's always available to kind of help with that as well. Military ASVAB, college rep meetings, she's always setting those up. And then if you have some questions about college applications, you can go to her, but that is something that you can come to us as your student's high school counselor anytime, and we're happy to help you guys with that. Things that we do as school counselors are more or less, you would come to us if you have questions about scheduling, if you have questions about post-high school planning, taking Sierra College classes through our academic enrichment program. We can answer any of those questions for you. That's something that we do a little differently than what our college and career tech Ms. Lott does. So, and I want to just pause for a moment. And if you guys have any questions, please feel free to put those questions in the chat. We have counselors that are reviewing those. And then if at the end of the webinar, if we haven't answered those questions, we will be sure to do that. So Thank you for your patience. All right, next slide, please. All right, and we have a learning support specialist, Miss Miranda Hanley. She's a fantastic resource that helps counselors and admin with various things. She's kind of like a multitasking guru of Wood Creek, and she's a great support for all of our students and families. So she helps with academic plans. We call those our PAC plans. They're great interventions for students that may need some extra support with academics, maybe some behavior or organizational skills. She's also in class with our PAC period. Not our PAC period, our positive power class. We also call it a math lab. That's a great class where she works with one of our math teachers, Mr. Rogers, and she offers support with, like I was mentioning before, some interventions such, my brain, study skills, organizational skills, and then also with some math skills as well. And then you can see she also is a great support with academic and attendance support. She helps counselors with student study team meetings and so forth. So she's also a great resource that your students have access to as well. So next slide, please. And then I'm very excited to talk about our Wellness Center. In this time of COVID, they have really stepped up and just been such great support for our students and families. So our Wellness Center is going to probably be something new to most of you coming that may have students for the first time in high school. They are a safe place on campus that offers emotional support for students. They offer individual therapy. They offer group therapy or groups support, such as substance use, vaping, anxiety or depression groups. We also have an amazing family liaison, and her name is, or family and youth liaison. Her name is Mrs. Bryan. She's a great resource to have if you need any support within the community. You need community resources. She can help out with that. So as you can see, we have a wellness coordinator, Mr. Gibbs. We have mental health specialist, Mrs. Carabinas. She is a licensed clinical social worker and provides one-on-one therapy. And then we have 4 amazing interns that are working towards their clinical licensure. So they are able to also provide some support and counseling to your students. So we're very thankful for them. So once we're back on campus and we can have you guys on campus, we'd love for you guys to tour their center. It's amazing. So students also have access to that if they want to just drop in and just kind of take a breather if they're feeling overwhelmed in class or anything like that. So we're very thankful for them. Next slide, please. So we have a program specialist, Karen Hummel. She's fantastic. She is here to offer support for students with IEPs. She helps them with that transition from middle school to high school. She does her best to attend all of those meetings if your student's on an IEP coming from the middle school over to the high school. We want to make sure that we're coordinating support that they had at the middle school with what they will have in terms of support at the high school. So if you have questions related to your student's IEP or individual needs based on their IEP, you can reach out to Karen Hummel. Her information is on the slide right there. And we will give you access to the slides and to the webinar tomorrow if you need to kind of refer back to them at any point. Lastly, if there's anyone that you need to get a hold of on campus, you can reach out to them by using their first initial of and their last name. So their first initial of their first name, and then you can put their last name. So for example, our registrar is Michelle Piesinski. Many of you may reach out to her through email at some point or a phone call with questions on enrollment. So her contact information is her first initial of her first name. So Michelle, so M Piesinski at rjuhsd.us. So, and you can also find contact information for any of us through our school website. So that's woodcreekhigh.com. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and pass
All
it
right.
off to Mr. Allstott.
All right. I am up here. So I'm going to talk to you guys about our graduation requirements and also the UC and CSU A through G requirements. I'll go over graduation requirements first. So there's a few different subject areas that we require students to pass in order to earn their high school diploma. That first subject area is history and social science. For our students, they have to take that for 3 years. When it says years, I'm going to talk about our block schedule here in a couple minutes. But when it says years, it really means just courses. So 3 courses that students have to take in the history and social science area. That doesn't start till sophomore year. So next year as a freshman, your student won't be taking a history or social science course. But again, sophomore, junior, and senior year, they'll take world studies, U.S. history, and then Gov Econ. English is also required. English they have to take every year. So there's 4 years or 4 courses of English that they have to pass. So English is a class they take every year. To graduate for our math requirement, math only requires 2 years or 2 courses. And that's going to be Integrated Math 1 and Integrated Math 2. Most freshmen will be taking that Integrated Math 1 course next year as a freshman, and Integrated Math 2 as a sophomore. Science is also 2 years. So our freshmen will take NGSS biology their freshman year, and then they'll take NGSS physics for their sophomore year. And then that science requirement for graduation is done. Students are also required to take 1 year of either a foreign language or a visual or performing art. So they can pick from one of those 2 categories. And our foreign language right now is Spanish. And we're looking into getting sign language at some point. But right now, our only foreign language that we offer is Spanish. So again, it's either 1 year of Spanish or 1 year of a visual or performing art. Elective courses, students have to take at least 11 elective courses throughout their 4 years of high school. Physical education or PE, there's 2 years that are required for students to take. That's going to be PE 9 and PE 10, which are taken in 9th and 10th grade. And then 1 year of health, and that's taken during 9th grade, freshman year. So if you kind of noticed, a lot of our graduation requirements are taken during those first 2 years of high school. Freshman and sophomore year are really important, and a lot of our graduation requirements are done at the end of sophomore year. In addition to the credits that students have to pass and the courses they have to pass, they also have an online personal finance course that they have to take and finish. It's done completely online. It's done at the student's own pace. That's not available until junior year, so not something that students have to worry about right now, but just something to kind of keep in mind for the future, that personal finance course does have to be completed to meet our graduation requirements. So all in all, it's 26 courses or 260 credits. Each one of our courses is worth 10 credits. So the 260 credits, that's the mark that students have to meet in order to earn their high school diploma. The UC and CSU A through G requirements are a little bit different. They're actually not that much harder to meet, but it is a few more extra courses that students have to take in those main academic areas. One of the biggest differences between the graduation requirements and the UC and CSU A through G requirements is that students can earn a D and earn graduation requirement. So you can earn a D and earn credits towards your high school diploma. But in order to meet the A through G UC and CSU requirements, students have to get at least a C or better in these courses in order for it to count. And in a nutshell, the A through G requirements, they're basically courses that students have to take and pass with a C or higher in high school in order to be eligible to apply straight to a 4-year university right out of high school. So if a student wants to apply straight to Sacramento State or UC Davis, for example, they have to meet those minimum A through G requirements. So real quick, let's go through those. The first category is history and social science. That's 2 years. So it's actually 1 year less than our graduation requirement. So all students will be able or should be able to meet that requirement. English is 4 years, which is the same as our graduation requirement. Math is 3 years. So 3 years versus our 2 years for just graduating. So with math, students have to at least go through integrated math 3, but the UCs and the CSUs do require a 4th year of math. So we always encourage students to take math through their senior year. Science is a 2-year requirement, which is the same as our graduation requirement. But again, the recommendation is to take at least 3 science courses. And then with foreign language and visual and performing art, those categories, you notice students have to take a couple extra courses in those categories. So for foreign language, students have to take at least 2 years of the same foreign language. Again, 3 are recommended, as it says right there. And students have to take at least 1 visual or performing art class. And then that last category is the G elective category, and students have to take at least 1 college prep elective. So those are the differences between graduation and the UC CSU A through G requirements. We always try to encourage our students to try to meet the A through G requirements. Even the students that are planning on going to community college first and then transferring after they've been at community college for a couple years, we still encourage those students, even though the A through G requirements are not required if you go to community college first. However, if you do the A through G requirements in high school, you're going to be much better prepared to do well at the community college and be able to transfer to a university in a timely manner. So you could potentially go, if you did well in high school, did all the A through G requirements, you could potentially do 2 years at Sierra College, for example, and then transfer to a 4-year university. If you're just barely meeting the graduation requirements in high school, you can still go to Sierra College or a community college, but you're going to spend a lot more time there, and the likelihood of dropping out increases. So you're looking at maybe 3 or 4 years and then transferring to a 4-year university. So again, we encourage all of our students to at least try to be on track with the A through G requirements. And then now I'm going to talk about our block schedule. Our block schedule can be a little confusing, and it's actually, I was a little nervous about doing this slide because it is confusing and it's a little bit hard to explain, but I'm going to try to just make it really simple. So Wood Creek is on what we call a 4x4 block schedule. So essentially what that means is that students will take 4 courses during the fall term or our first semester, and then students will take 4 completely different courses in our spring term or our second semester. So that's why it's called the 4x4 block schedule. Each course is worth 10 credits. Each course that a student passes is basically worth a year's worth of credit. So although they're only taking it during 1 semester, because our periods are longer, our teachers are able to fit a year's worth of curriculum into that 1 semester course. So even though they're just taking it during 1 semester, it's essentially like they're taking a year-long course and they're earning a year-long credit for each of their courses. So if a student in this fall term example, if a student passed integrated math 1 and earned 10 credits, then that's done. They're done with that year's worth of integrated math 1, even though it's just taken in 1 semester. And the way our grading periods and our marking periods work is students will receive final grades and credits at the end of each quarter. So for the fall term, the first quarter ends in October. And at that time, if students are passing all of their classes, they'll earn 5 credits per course at the end of first quarter for a total of 20 credits. And then the grading starts over, and then they start over for second quarter. And with second quarter, if they pass all of those same courses again, then they'll earn 5 more credits for each of those courses for a total of 40 credits for the entire semester. So basically all of our courses that students take, they're worth 10 credits, but they're split into 2 5-credit increments. So students have to pass both of those 5-credit increments to get the full 10 credits and be able to meet the full graduation requirement. So it's very, very important that students pass both halves, pass the first quarter course and the second quarter course to get the full 10 credits for those classes. Same with spring term. The third quarter class is basically the first half or the first 5 credits of those spring term courses. So for Spanish 1, as the example here, if a student passes their third quarter Spanish 1 class, that grade and those credits will go on their official transcript. And then they have to pass the fourth quarter, which is March through May. They have to pass those fourth quarter courses and credits, and then those will go on their official transcripts. Again, their grade and credit will go on their transcript. So I hope I explained that clearly. Again, if you have questions, just let us know, but that's basically how our block schedule runs and works.
Yeah. Hi, everybody. Now that my face has popped up, I'm Ms. Schaefer. Good evening. I know Mr. Allstott just gave a ton of good information about credits and the block schedule, and I just want to ease your mind. We will be talking about this stuff year in, year out, and once you guys get started here, you can always reach out to us if you have like a scenario for your specific student. Just know that we're going to be going over this multiple times when it comes to, graduation requirements, A to G requirements. So I don't want you to worry too much about that now. But kind of looking forward. So now that you know and have an idea of what our schedule looks like here at Wood Creek, I want to talk to you a little bit about how to start selecting your courses. And so as you and your students start to select courses to take next year in 9th grade, we want you to keep in mind the term course of study. And what that is it's a sequence of at least 3 progressively more challenging elective courses in a variety of student interest areas. So this can also be called like a CTE pathway, and I'll go over some examples, but us counselors encourage all freshmen to select a course of study that they might be interested in to promote learning within a specific career or academic field. Instead of students kind of just taking whatever electives are available or kind of what their friend tells them to take, we're kind of asking them to be intentional with their choices and kind of look at what skills can they gain in high school that they can take with them afterwards, right? So being college and career ready. So that's kind of what that means when we say course of study. So here are some examples here of our CTE pathways. So these are specific pathways built to teach students skills in a specific career area, right? So as you can see, every pathway has an intro course on the left, which these are the courses that your students can select for next year. And then afterwards comes the concentrator course. So they get a little bit more in depth into the material. And then at the end of the pathway, you see the capstone course where they kind of bring all those skills together into one class and actually provide like resume building experiences. And these are just really good pathways to kind of take a look at. And we really encourage students to maybe pick 1 or 2 that they might be interested in trying, and actually not just trying all of them, but actually completing the pathway by the end of their senior year. Again, even if your student is on that A to G track going to a 4-year college, it's so important for them to have some sort of skill that they can take with them either into college or into the workforce, community college. So these pathways, our teachers work really hard to really give an in-depth experience for our students. And there's a lot of unique classes in here. So I definitely encourage you to take a look at that. So here are some other examples. So just to kind of show you the progression of it. So like commercial music, you would start with commercial guitar 1, and then in the future, and that could even be in the spring, right? The spring of freshman year, because you can double up on those courses because of the 4x4 schedule. So if your student is really into intro to engineering, they can take that intro class in the fall and then follow up with the principles of engineering, that concentrator course in the spring. So that's just a little bit of an example. Another course of study that we consider would be advanced placement or AP courses. So we do have a class. So freshmen, we don't have any AP classes available for freshmen to take, but we do have a class called Practices and Skills for Success that they can take, which actually helps them prepare to take AP classes. So it helps them it gives a snapshot into all the AP classes that we offer on campus, and it helps them develop good study habits, and just kind of helps them prepare for that rigor to come with the AP classes. So if you think your student might be interested in taking AP classes in the future, then take a look at that practices and skills for success in our program planning guide. Okay, so just to go a little more in depth into what AP classes are, some of you may know, some of you may not, but an AP class is a rigorous college level course with a national standardized exam offered in the spring. So a lot of colleges will use AP classes for like admissions, and it really helps students kind of stand out taking AP classes because it weights their GPA, and it just makes the applicant overall more competitive. So why to take AP classes? Well, for first, college preparation, it is considered technically a college level course, right? So the rigor is a lot higher. More likely to graduate from a four-year college, especially on time too. Increased writing, studying, collaborative, and critical thinking skills. Students actually have the potential to earn college credit by taking the AP exam that's offered in May for all AP classes. So that is one benefit. If students earn a certain score on that AP exam, they can actually, whatever college they apply to, can actually apply that score to count as college credit. So they can actually go into college already having college credit, which is a great benefit. Us counselors recommend that all students at least attempt one AP class. And so, talk to your student's counselor about what that might look like for them, what class it might be, what subject area. But we believe that all students definitely have the opportunity to at least attempt one class. And if you go to the next slide, you'll see a quick list of the AP classes that we offer. So as you can see, it ranges from art to psychology to Spanish to computer science, math, history, English. So it really goes across the spectrum in terms of subject areas. So again, just talk to your student's counselor and we would be happy to kind of guide you in which courses to take for that. So thank you.
All right, so now we're going to talk about the enrollment process and actually everything that needs to be done to officially set your student up to be enrolled here. So we'll go on to the next slide. All right, so we're doing enrollment a little bit different this year. We're trying to get rid of paper. So if you have students who already are at Wood Creek and you've done this process before, it's going to look a little different. Everything is going to be electronically now. So we do get some information from our feeder middle schools that help us, get that started. But you're going to want to go onto the Wood Creek High School website, and then you're going to click on the front page. There's going to be a section where you see freshman enrollment. So go ahead and click on that. And then on this portal, you're going to upload a list of all the required documents. So it's going to have very detailed instructions of exactly which documents you need to upload and how to scan or take a picture of that and make sure the registrar gets it. So on this portal, it's also going to be able to show you and give you a confirmation when your enrollment is submitted. And then it's going to also on this website, it's going to have we'll go into this a little bit more, but the course request Google form that you're going to be using to help your students select their classes. So enrollment is currently open. It opened today and it's going through February 24th. So anytime between now and then, you can get your documents together and ready to submit. Then once you finish the process, you're going to receive an automated email to acknowledge that everything's been submitted. And if there are any issues with the enrollment, Michelle Paisinski, she will be contacting anyone who has anything missing. So she's really awesome, really quick on email. So if you have any questions or concerns about this process, her email is down below. The sooner that you submit your enrollment, the better, because we do want to emphasize that we have some elective classes that tend to be really popular. So the sooner you submit your enrollment, the sooner your student can kind of fill out their course requests and get started with picking their classes out. So we'll go on to the next slide here. So these are, I won't go through too much detail about the exact documents that you're going to need to submit, because again, on the Wood Creek website, you'll be able to have detailed instructions there, but you can see here just a little snapshot of the documents you might want to start gathering. So like a mortgage statement, City of Roseville utility bill, medical or state record of students' immunizations, your ID, a copy of the freshman course registration confirmation receipt, and there's some other documents that will go into, like if your student has an IEP or a 504 plan or any legal documents that we need to get updated as well. So I want to emphasize that your student will not be enrolled until your online enrollment and the required documents have been received. So it's really important to kind of check off all of those boxes. And again, you can ask Michelle Paisinski any questions that you have through email. All right, and so just a quick snapshot of the immunizations that your students are required to have before enrolling here. So you can see here, those 4 bullet points right there list out all the vaccines that your student has to have. And these are the list of acceptable immunization documents. The one important thing to note here is that it has to be from this list of acceptable immunization documents. Printouts from previous schools do not meet the California state requirements, so it has to be records from this specific list. Go on to the next slide. All right, so if your student has any specific medical conditions or needs, our nurse is amazing, so you'll be in close contact with her about this. So our nurse is Denise LaFazia. She's awesome. So students with diabetes, food allergies, or seizure disorders, they'll need to have an emergency plan that is coordinated with the nurse. And medical or medications of any kind will need prior doctor or parent approval for students, and those also go through the nurse. So if you have any questions about this, you can definitely contact our nurse at dlafazia@rjuhsd.us. You could also find her contact information on our website. And then we'll go on to the next slide. Okay, so now we're going to switch gears and we're going to talk about course requests. So again, everything's electronic this year. We used to do paper copies, but I think this is going to be it's going to be a nicer process. It's going to be more streamlined. So on our Wood Creek website, on that front page of the website, you'll see this Google form. So you're going to start, there's also, back up a little bit, there's a program planning guide that has a lot of information, more detailed information about classes, about, course descriptions, and it's a really great tool that's also linked there on the front of our website. And again, if you have any questions when you're going through this, you can contact your student's counselor. So I'll show you what the Google form looks like on the next slide here. So when you click on that link, it's going to take you to a page that looks like this. So you can read some of that information here. One thing to note is that, again, all 9th grade students are required to take a set of classes that's set for everyone. So English 9, biology, PE 9, and health and wellness. So those are the classes that we won't be able to adjust, but your student can pick additional electives for more. So again, it kind of has a little description of that 4x4 block schedule, meaning that there's 4 classes in the fall and 4 classes in the spring. And then on the next slide, you'll see what it looks like. So the first section you'll see is the math section. And we wanted to kind of give a little explanation about this because this section can look a little tricky, but what we want you to do is ask your student and talk to your student about what math class they took during 8th grade, because that's going to determine what their next level of math is at the high school level. So most of the students will fall probably into the category of wanting to do IM1. So that would just be the first option. But your student does have the option of taking doubling up on math, which is what we call when students want to take 2 math classes in a year. So they could take IM1 and IM2 in the same year. Or if your student has already taken IM1 during 8th grade and they want to go on to IM2, they can do IM2 alone, or they can do IM2 and IM3. So like essentially a year-long class. They are separate classes, but students are able to double up on math, especially this is an option that students like to choose if they want to take some of those AP math classes later on in their high school career. It's nice to double up on the math so they can take as many math classes as they want later on. All right, and so the next section is going to look something like this. It's going to be a drop-down menu where you get to choose which elective classes your students want. So it's pretty simple. You just click on the drop-down menu, and then I think the next slide shows kind of a list here. So this is what it'll look like. It has the course number, which is, you don't need to pay too much attention to that, but just the title of the class. And again, on our website, you can see more detailed descriptions of what each of these classes are about. And then we do recommend that students choose a couple of alternate class choices, because sometimes, like I said, the classes that tend to be really popular, for example, construction tech or some of the arts classes, those classes tend to have a lot of student interest. So I wish we could give everyone their first choice at all times, but sometimes we do have to have a backup choice just in case the student doesn't get their first class because of capacity issues. So encourage your student to select a few alternate choices as a plan B. And then we'll go on to the next slide. All right, and then at the end of the Google form, we have this section where we just want to get a little bit of information regarding what your students' plans are post-high school. So it's freshman year and plans can totally change, but we kind of just want to see where your students at. That way, when we have meetings with them, we kind of know, a starting point. So we ask what career they're considering, or what their plan is, whether it's going to a four-year university or a community college or going into the workforce. So that way we can help advise them in terms of maybe what electives we might recommend and things like that. All right, and I think this is passing it back to Farah. Thank you.
All right, everyone. So you just had a ton of information thrown at you, and I am so sorry for all of that. Like I mentioned before, we are going to be posting this presentation on our website tomorrow. So you feel free to go back through, review it. If you have specific questions, you can reach out to any of us counselors. And so more or less the next steps. So the next steps for you is you're going to be sure to complete the online district enrollment. And again, just keep in mind, this is very important just because you are coming from a different district. So everything, you have to make sure that you enroll your student in our website or into our system here at Wood Creek in Roseville Joint Union. Even if you have older children that are currently at Wood Creek, it's still very important that you enroll your current incoming freshmen as well. So you're going to then go ahead and complete the Google form to select courses for your student. So right now we have it open starting today, right now, until next Wednesday. If you have specific questions, please feel free to email the counselor within your last name and we can support you with any questions you may have on selecting those classes. Then if you have specific enrollment questions, please feel free to email Michelle Paisinski. She is our registrar and she could answer any questions that you have for that. And then lastly, if you, you can also check out our Pride of the Pack slideshow. So if this is not your first Pride of the Pack night, you probably noticed that you haven't been able to check out the campus and check out the various opportunities we have on campus. But what we did this year is, rather than you walking around and checking all of that out, we're bringing it into your home. So Mr. Allstott, would you mind clicking on that Pride of the Pack slideshow? So this is available on our website. I highly encourage you to check it out with your student. This is a great way to encourage your student to become involved in a sport, a club, one of our amazing performing arts programs that we offer here. And then we have tons of clubs. So students have a place wherever, they may be, whatever their interests are, there's somewhere for them here at Wood Creek. And the best way for students to feel successful and to also feel connected is to participate, to get involved, and to find the people that they have and share the same interest with. So this is a great presentation or PowerPoint you guys can check out and take your time. Watch the videos. There's a lot of interactive things on this slideshow that kind of gives you a better idea of what classes are and what other opportunities are out there. So we definitely highly encourage you to do that. And then there's contact information for the coaches, for the club advisors, for some of the teachers on there that, you know, they encourage you to reach out if you have specific questions in relation to their sports or classes or activities. So definitely check that out. And so again, a ton of information thrown at you. Please feel free to look on our school website. You can find all of this information on there. And we have a couple minutes before this kicks us off. Lastly, here is all of the counselors' contact information. Feel free to take a picture of it, or you can find it easily on our school website under the services tab, and just scroll down, you'll see counselors, and you see all of our pictures, all of our contact information. At this time, I would encourage you to refer any questions that you have to our email. That's going to be the best way to get in contact with us, just because we are supporting some students right now with transitioning into their next grade level and selecting their courses. So if you want a quick answer, that's going to be the best way. So, all right, we can take some questions. Ms. Collins, was there any questions that haven't been answered in the chat yet?
Yes. So someone is asking, where do you start the enrollment? They tried to go to the website, and when they click on freshman enrollment, they only find a timeline. Okay,
so on that timeline, if you click on that timeline, Mr. Allstott, is there a way for you to go? Actually, I can do it right. I have it up. Maybe. I will.
Do you want me to look it up, or are you going to share your screen?
I can share my screen.
Okay.
All right, perfect. All right, can you see my screen okay, everyone? All right, so right here, you'll see on the far right where it says Pride of the Pack, incoming freshmen. You'll click on that. From there, you'll see two different links, excuse me. So where it says the incoming freshman enrollment, you'll click on that. From there, on the incoming freshman timeline, you will find all the links you need in order to register for your classes. So we've already hit this. We're in the webinar right now. So if you scroll down to this next section, you'll see where it says online enrollment opens today. So you would click on this first one. Ms. Paizinski has done a great job of pretty much laying out step by step how, like, what you need to get started. Really step by step. Click here, instructions on what to do from there. So if you follow this and you run into any snags, this is where I would highly encourage you to reach out to Ms. Paizinski to ask specific questions. Going back to this form, after you've completed your freshman enrollment, you can go, and this is where we've linked the freshman course list. And from here, you can kind of check out what elective choices that your student has access to and that they can choose from. So we always encourage students to kind of check that out. Again, look at what your interests are, look at what your the strengths are of your student, and we want them to have an enjoyable first year here at Wood Creek High School. So make sure they're selecting the right classes that they find interest on for their current and their future planning. So we also have a link for our program planning guide that we mentioned in the presentation. This is a great resource where you can go and get actual detailed information about the classes. So for example, there's links for like empowering entrepreneurs, for example. You can click here and there's a short video for some of these classes. So be watching for these blue hyperlinks. And the videos are an excellent way to kind of get an idea of what that class would look like. And then this is an important thing that we want to point out too, is we do have some great courses here that do require an application or an audition. So we went ahead and we link this in as well, where you can kind of check out the various things. We have speech and debate too, that we will allow freshmen to take if they're prepared for it. So Miss Elko, she is the person for that, and she can give you specific she can answer specific questions for you. We have yearbook, we have student government. There's an application that's due by April 19th there. There's some music auditions that your student can do. There's drama, there's dance. And one of the things that we get a lot of questions about is the student government class. So Miss Bear is our student government advisor, and she's fantastic. The passion, energy, and love that she has for what she does is so contagious. And this is a very popular thing that many students want to do, but unfortunately, she has to limit it to a certain amount of students. So if your student applies and they don't get it this freshman year, one, tell them not to give up, to continue to apply and try out for it. And then for students that may not get into student government that still want to become involved in some of our school activities, we encourage students to check out our leadership class. The leadership class is not an application class. They can register for it in their course request. Just another great opportunity for them to kind of become involved in some of the leadership opportunities that we offer here. So, and
Sarah,
then
can I interrupt you for 1 second?
Oh, of course.
I know some people are confused because there are various dates on the slides. We originally had the course request open until the 24th. We would like it by the 17th, so we have enough time to find people who are unable to do it. So please have it done by the 17th. You're still going to come to school if it's not done by then, but the sooner the better, so we can make the best choices for you to have the classes you want. When we don't get requests, we have to guess at what people want, and then we end up making classes that people didn't really want to be in. So if you can have it done by the 17th, it would be greatly appreciated. I'm sorry it was confusing with 2 dates on there.
Yes, thank you, Ms. Collins. And you know what, I want to apologize that we're at the end of the evening and I did not introduce Ms. Collins. Ms. Collins is our assistant principal and she watches over all of us counselors. Do you want to say anything further so they can see your face again, Ms. Collins?
No, I'm not important, just them. Thank you.
All right, thank you. So lastly, the one last thing that you'll want to do is after you've completed those other steps is just register complete the course registration for your students. And again, if you come into any challenges, you have specific questions, please reach out to your counselor that falls within your last name and we will be happy to help you. So again, I will put our email addresses up here for you to see if you need anything. Again, please let us know. Welcome to Wood Creek. We really hope to have you guys all of your students on campus next year. We as counselors, we are in this job because we like to see and work with students face to face and not through a screen. So anyhow, thank you guys all for coming tonight. Is there any questions that we may have missed, Ms. Collins?
Not really that I can see.
Okay. I'm going to stop sharing. Let's see if I can see any. All right. Well, thank you, everyone. Again, we're excited to have our class of 2025 students. Welcome to Wood Creek, everyone. Have a good evening.